Recently wanted to pick up. There are a couple of available champions. Shyvana is available. That was the ban that wasn't put through this time. That would be a good pickup for them. Rengar as well is available after the bans phase. So they're still waiting to see what they're going to pick up. So clearly a lot of discussion out of Superteam EU Kappa on what they want to play here.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, Shyvana is usually something you'll pick up early because it's very safe, can be top lane, can be jungle. You can fit the rest of your composition around it, and it's just a very solid pick. Like, it works everywhere really well. But we'll see exactly what they lock in. You're a couple seconds ahead, so...
Yeah, it was Shyvana that they ended up picking up. So nothing surprising there.
Yeah.
First pick Shyvana, very standard. I believe we've seen it in most games today that Shyvana has been available.
Yeah, you don't look like a genius, you don't look like you have a crystal ball to call that, but it's always nice when it happens. And we'll see what Eternity do in response. So a lot of the priority early picks have been taken away from these guys, so we'll see exactly. It might just be composition picks we see here.
One of those things that I would like to say that I borrowed Jat's crystal ball, but unfortunately this one you could pick with a blindfold on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what will Eternity look to pick up in exchange for that? Again, these teams are taking a fair while over what they wanted to play, and I wonder whether that's because of the bans here. Of course, Vi was played in the last game, banned out now. Lee Sin wasn't banned in the first game, has been banned this time. So looks like Maweth is going to pick up Elise and a Jinx alongside that. So fairly common picks, but they're taking a while over deciding.
Fantastic. At least they have the Spider Queen here, and also picking up Jinx.
Yeah, it's not too surprising at all. Now, Chewed Up and Jinsu, what will they pick up here? Because Chewed Up has played a number of AD carries with all of the games we've seen him. We've seen him play quite a bit of Ezreal previously in Season 3. Ezreal not played so much these days, but still does have his place in a good few team compositions. They'll go with Gragas again to take that away from Torodos this time, so it will be on the team of Superteam EU Kappa.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a very just solid pick right there. Like, Annie fits well with basically any other AD carry. Lucian is actually something I'm a little bit surprised that we didn't see picked even earlier. But definitely, like, Gragas, again, is one of those very common mid laners. We've seen how strong he is in previous games. Those big explosive casks can really just turn a fight.
And we saw that from Torodos in Game 1. He just landed some magnificent explosive casks, and that just really turned the team fights. You saw the one in top lane actually turned the game on its head. That ace that Eternity got allowed them to take a tower and Baron with those 5 kills and really just start to snowball the game through. Up until that point, it was a very close game. So hopefully we'll see something similar in this game again, where both teams just trading back and forth. And now this is an interesting play. Kayle is normally picked as a counter to Vi, but Vi is banned out, so you have to wonder why there was no Orianna pickup here.
It's usually a response, I agree, and especially against Gragas, Orianna has a slightly better early game, but kind of peters out into a very even lane after that. But Kayle right here, it looks like they might have a priority with the next pickup that they want to keep alive, or they want to deny it from Exeter, which is a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they're running a Cogmore composition where that would go towards keeping them safe. I mean, we haven't seen teams run that in a very long time.
Yeah.
That's beginning of Season 3 was the last time I even think I contemplated seeing that, if I even remember rightly. So they've already got their AD carry locked in as well. So that it's not quite going to be that, but it just seems to me like maybe it's just a comfort pick. I mean, Kayle is a fairly consistent laner. We talked earlier about Righteous Fury giving you the ability to farm and push waves fairly quickly, but I don't know. It just, to me, doesn't seem like the optimal pick here.
Yeah, of course, and it might be, again, just taking that away from Exler, because he has done incredibly well with that pick. But either way, they're going to go with their own pickups, will be Evelynn and Caitlyn, which I don't think would have changed with the last second on the stream. So, again, Evelynn will be picked up. It did well in the first game, it could have done better, but all the kills were centralized on the Evelynn, so they were kind of forced to use Evelynn as their only way to win the team fights.
And my problem with the way that the team put the kills onto Evelyn was the fact that they used it for more damage, which is a risky play and can work out, because if you can burst somebody quickly, then of course the damage is going to be worth it, because you can really disrupt the team fight. And we saw that once or twice in the game where, you know, Eternity couldn't really get the team fight they wanted. However, this time around, I wonder whether they'll build it a little bit tankier and a little bit more survivable, because there's some big assassins on the playing field here from Eternity.
Yeah, and especially when you're playing against Elise, like, it's so easy to read your opponent. Well, I say easy, but it's easy in the sense that if Evelyn does find herself Elise, Elise will just kill her one-on-one early. It's very difficult if they find themselves out of position, if the gank is very like telegraphed, that Elise can just find himself there. Mowoff will just completely destroy that gank before it even happens.
So it looks like all the teams are locked in. That Kha'Zix pickup again, going towards that that amount of damage on the assassins, and I'm waiting for a trade here. Actually, Kale top lane has been played, but isn't exactly the most
Welcome to season 2.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're in season 2 here, although Kha'Zix really wouldn't have been
existing
available then. Yeah, but wow, okay, so it's been locked. Kale top lane going up against the Shyvana.
Interesting.
I guess
not actually. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I guess we'll have to see what the result is, because we've got to head for a very quick break here before we get...
Stun. It will result in a lot of damage. And in a straight-up trade, Stratagas and Nikos will come out better, because Caitlyn doesn't trade amazingly, but over time, they'll just grind them down with that insane poke range.
And we will be back on stream very shortly, guys. Hopefully you have stuck with us. Looks like we are back live. There's a couple of little issues with Twitch here and there have risen their heads throughout the day, but nevertheless we are in game number 2 between Eternity and Superteam EU Kappa, and big harass being put down already in that bottom lane.
Indeed, and in the top lane we had Ginsu looking for that gank onto KO, and nothing really came of it. So top lane is fairly even at the moment. We haven't seen insane harass from either of these players, and Ginsu is still hanging around, got that double buff and wants it to be utilised. Flash forwards from Mozilla as well. Mike Yar's already used his flash. This could spell the end of him. Stunned up underneath the turret. Mowell comes in from nowhere. Cocoon lands, and that'll be the 1-for-1.
Fantastic Cocoon out of mouth to lock down Evelyn under the turret and take massive damage. So 1-for-1 overall. Slight gold lead will go to Superteam, of course, getting the first blood on that one, but even pretty much as we saw throughout the first game.
Yeah, but more importantly, the double buff is gone from Evelyn, so that's going to hurt the first couple levels in terms of her ganks, and that is really where Evelyn shines. So that has really upset Evelyn's jungle.
And Evelyn will struggle a little bit, as you alluded to there. Of course, would like to have that blue buff for that extra cooldown, mana replenishment as well.
Mana reduction.
I was going to say mana reduction is something that Evelyn would not like, but we are into our third best of 3 of the day, so at some point there had to be some kind of faux pas. But yeah, I'm surprised that lasted this long.
Yeah, we've been casting for quite a long time now, not quite into the early hours of the morning, which sometimes happens during these Challenger tournaments here, Stress, so hopefully that doesn't happen, but I don't think it would. And everyone just goes back to farming.
Yeah, Mawith looked for a gank there in the middle lane. Couldn't quite find it, so we'll return to the enemy jungle, actually, not returning to his own. Up in that top lane again, there's a lot of trading back and forth between the two top laners, but bottom lane is where the focus is going to be, because the junglers are about to converge.
Yeah, Mowoff has moved down, does not quite connect Cocoon, it was a pixel away. Yarrow found himself the stun, jump up, jump down onto the minion line, and it doesn't look like they can go any further as the Flame Chompers lands onto all 3 players.
I didn't realise you were a member of House of Pain. That's Don't worry. Sorry, that's
someone's gonna get that reference, and it wasn't me.
Somebody will get that. I should not bring music references into this, but nevertheless, neither jungler really managed to get anything off there. And again, trading just blow for blow back and forth here between these two teams. Oh, so close. Looks like nobody really has the number of the either.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it probably would have worked, but Moaf has been found out by Excellent. Easy auto attack, picks up the double buff, and that has actually reset it literally as it was going to run out.
Gragas making an aggressive play like that is something that you don't see all that often. That was all the way over by the Wolf camp from Eternity. So nice pickup there out of Superteam, really knowing that where they can trade. And especially against an Elise, not that often that you see her caught out, but she was a little bit damaged from that earlier trade in the bottom lane.
Yeah, indeed. Like, Elise players generally just sit in the jungle, sit in the enemy jungle with the knowledge that they're going to be strong enough to do anything. Charados actually trading off against Exla despite the double buff. Flashes out, Ignite is still ticking down, but I'm sure Happy Hour should keep him alive. Indeed it does. And that just fed another kill to the double buff Gragas.
And we saw earlier that the game went in favor of Eternity early on with a couple of kills, but they managed to bring it back to Super Team EU, and maybe they're looking for another kill in that top lane after forcing the intervention out.
Yep, and the flash is down, so they could definitely go for round 2, but Ginsu, I should say, is not in the best of shapes. He's level 5 versus level 5 of Moaf because of that earlier death, so it's not too big of an issue, and now the second buffs are starting to spawn.
Yarrow getting caught out a little bit by Zap there, but not quite able to convert the kill where Eternity looked for maybe the hook. But Yarrow does have that stun charged up. They've got to be careful that there's no kind of counter engage. It all depends on how far Yarrow is from level 6. He's still half a level away, so no chance of Tibbers just yet. But Eternity do have to be careful.
Yeah, it always amuses me when I see Kha'Zix pick up the triple longsword, because you're just like, what? But then, of course, Brutalizer, and then any other item that you really choose to build the extra longsword into, so it all makes sense in the end.
Yeah, it's surprisingly efficient, although he does get explosive casked away.
He does. Red buff is still ticking down, and the last auto attack from the minion will drop him to 20 HP, and Tarados does not want to stick around.
Nice flash out avoided the last parts of damage. The stun has landed in that bottom lane, still not level 6 is Yarrow, so that was just the incineration, but it looks like Ginsu has made his way down into this bottom lane, and Elise isn't quite in position to counter gank yet.
Yep, the ward has come out, but of course that wouldn't have seen Ginsu at this stage as he just jukes in and out of vision range. Jump forward from the arrow, lands the stun onto 2. Nikos will drop, Stratogas gets a perfect Flame Chompers down, but they go for this tower dive with that extra shielding. They're going to take a couple tower hits, and is it going to be enough? That'll be the kill in return. Ace in the hole picks up the second, so 2-for-1 trade in the bottom lane.
I think Super Team EU will be happy with that. Anytime you can get the advantage on the kills there, that is always a good thing, but will they be able to push down this turret? Elise is there to defend, and Shoot Up and Yarrow really don't feel confident, or at least choose not to take down that tower, even though they did have a bit of a minion wave there. So a conscious decision to keep that lane in the 2v2s, and why wouldn't you when you look at the CS difference? 66 to 45 here at 9 minutes into the game.
And plus, Caitlyn just picked up a red buff from that interaction,
yeah.
So that just means there's very little chance of Stratogas and Nikos not only trading off effectively, but getting into that trade before they're already being chunked down to about 50% from severe poking from that Caitlyn. Mozilla jumps onto Mike Yarrow in the top lane. Interventionist live, so is both of his summoners, but it does knock him down to about 25% HP.
And that's one of the difficulties in this Kayle lane, is I'm just not too sure that past the intervention and the heal that'll come out from Kayle, she can't really take the damage from Shyvana, whereas on the other hand, Shyvana will really want to trade in those fights, and Tauros lands on a barrel. Ignite is ticking. It will be enough to pick up the kill for Gragas.
Yeah, Exeler just takes a drink as his foe just bleeds out in the middle lane, and Yarrow just confirming that vision in the bot of the bottom lane, and now the dragon is live, so it looks like this might be an objective they'll want to go over since Charados is in the death chamber.
Now, how will they be able to snowball this Gragas? 3-0 with 65 CS, so on his person right now is 1300 gold. Wouldn't be surprised to see them pick up the rest of that Athene's Unholy Grail. I think he's a little bit away from actually completing that item, but alongside that double Doran's Ring and the Fiendish Codex, didn't actually complete that recall, so will push the mid lane a little bit further. And Shyvana doing what Shyvana does, especially against a lane opponent that can't really duel her, and that's farm out behind the turret. Mozilla has to be careful that the rotation doesn't come across from Maweth, but I think Mozilla's done this enough times to know exactly how far he can push that button.
Yeah, and it means that he'll at least draw the jungler's presence into the top lane, means the rest of his lanes can be very safe in that fact. And plus, just as soon as he just sees him through the fog of war, then he's going to be very happy. And now that they've seen him in the top lane, guess what? It's an easy dragon.
Yeah, and that's just really smart play by Mozilla there. They knew exactly how far they could push that, and that is going to be an uncontested dragon. That's just really smart map awareness out from Superteam EU.
Yep, Mozilla's aggression past that turret has resulted in the objective being taken 6-2, the objective advantage to Superteam Kappa, and they are in very good shape. So, most likely Mozilla will just carry farming behind the turret. There's no reason not to. Dragon's Ascent comes through. He might look for the kill here on Mikey R. Intervention comes down, still has the flash and ignite, but that the ultimate has already been used. Chewed Up takes down Radagast, and the fresh double kill in the bot lane.
Yeah, that was not even using Tibbers because they didn't have the flash Tibbers available. Sorry, it was using Tibbers. What am I talking about? Yero gets stunned down under the turret, will get picked off as the turret goes down, and Maweth now on the run.
Yep, Repel comes up, drops down onto the white. I'm never sure what to call that, but we'll be dropping onto it regardless. 109 gold, nice.
That's one of those faux pas is that Taradas gets aggressed upon by Exile in that mid lane. Both of them trading off fairly evenly. Looks like they want to disengage though.
Yeah, and Tarados does not want to go anywhere near that. Exler clears the minion wave and backs on out. So 3-0-0 in very good shape, 1 tower advantage, and they're just gradually getting ahead, which is different from the first game where we just had both these teams in a very even state until we saw Eternity really pushing forwards and securing the game.
It's always confusing when you have an Annie and you're trying to recap a team fight. Because I was looking at mid lane with the engagement, and when Tibbers is on the field, it's not grayed out. Yeah. So I was like, Tibbers is still available. No. Oops. Oh well, one of those things. But yeah. Again, I still question this Kayle pick for this top lane because I really don't feel like Kayle can duel Mozilla, and that's what you need against the Shyvana, is somebody that can stop her from pushing. Maybe as Kayle gets stronger into this game, they'll be able to prevent that kind of push, but right now it's just not doing the job that they need it to.
It's interesting that it almost feels like they're just conceding that lane, saying this is going to lose, therefore we'll throw down the Kayle pick as a composition pick, and then just see how it goes. And now with the rest of the team around this jungle, they have great picking potential, but so does the team of Eternity as they collect themselves one onto Yero.
Yeah, they do get the first one. No real chance there to get any more, even though they would like to get that Kha'Zix to reset like we saw Charu do earlier for Meet Your Makers, but now Exile gets stunned in place. Has to be careful that he doesn't overstay his welcome in this jungle, because we just saw Eternity pick Yarrow off. They can do the same with pretty much any member of Superteam EU, provided the numbers are in their favour.
And it's funny how comfortable Mozilla is feeling right now that he's picked up a damage item first.
Yeah.
This is something you just hardly ever see from a top lane Shyvana.
Yeah, that was something I was going to point out when we headed back to that top lane. Normally you'd see a defensive item, and we've commented before that you'll see a Blade of the Ruin King maybe as a second item if you're feeling incredibly confident in the lane, but to get it first means that Mozilla's going to be a little bit squishier, and actually may result in Mikey R being able to trade a bit better, especially with Maweth around. They do have an inkling that he's there, but the damage out of Mozilla is crazy strong right now.
He still has Dragon's Descent, so Maweth did not want to go any further. Dragon's Descent, blind, tries to pick up the kill. Repel comes up. Michael zoning him away from the drop-down point, and he will back on off. Excellent, meanwhile, goes on a rampage. Tarados gets locked up using Agony's Embrace. Tibbers comes down, does not quite connect, and Shoot Up is behind the turret. Good guy, Fresh blocks that route, and the middle tower will be dropping.
Yeah, and they're also pressuring bottom tower as well, with Mozilla still farming out behind the outer tower, going up against Mikey R. You can see Mozilla is fairly low on health comparative to Mikey R, but I really still don't know whether Mikey R can trade against him.
Probably no. Mozilla has been winning this lane up until this point, has just basically 1v2'd. I don't think Mikey R has the trading potential just yet. We'll see what he does with the itemization, but Mozilla going with that early damage item, you saw how much burst that was, even onto Mowaf, who's 3-1.
Yeah, I can't get over this Kale pick. It's just something that I don't know whether it's worked out for them against Shyvana in previous games, or as you said, it's a composition choice, and it just seems to me that although obviously the player's skill of Mikey R is apparent, you saw him in the last game, he's even doing a fairly consistent performance against the Shyvana in this game, but it just seems like there's this mismatch of styles, and it's just not lending itself towards Eternity being able to hold back the rest of Super Team EU.
It's pretty funky as well, because for anyone who hasn't really watched much of Mikey R, but Tarados in the mid lane gets hit by Exler once again with that combo Ginsu from the side. See where he goes, where will he stop? In fact, it will be trying to kill Exler, moves even further forwards, but the tower shot takes him down. Super Mega Death Rocket comes across. Takes down Exler.
Exel actually moved just into that one. I think he'll probably kick himself for getting hit by that. But it does, however, mean that they had a read on where Jinx was roughly. They had a line of where the origin of that Super Mega Death Rocket was. So Super Team, even after losing Exela, will push forward. Tarados wasn't up either. So the 4v4 would have been in their favor anyway. So they pushed down that middle inner turret and looked for the dragon. They found Mauer.
Oh, the aggressive flash forwards, in fact, from Elise. Jumps over the wall using that lantern, but with the follow-up, it might be enough. In fact, it won't be, and Tibbers will just be doing his job and tanking up 50 gold goes to that team of Eternity, not Roughnecks, and now they're just taking down the dragon.
The difficulty in this game is 3 players have a Roughnecks tag, and 1 on Super Team has a Reason Gaming tag. So, yeah. And considering we were casting Reason earlier, I keep wanting to call them Reason. So if I stammer over that is why. But Super Team EU feeling pretty confident in this game. The Kappas have been thrown out in the in-game chat after Tarados
Not sure if you caught that.
And Mozilla were trading over the wolves. Yeah. I didn't quite see who got it.
Yeah, I think it went to Shyvana there, with like a blind E over the wall, which was pretty fantastic considering it's only level 3 at this stage.
Nice. The Kappas are out in force, as I expect chat to raise their Kappas fairly soon.
There we go. Always nice to see. The full cycle of Twitch chat has been restored. It's like the circle of life, just with more Kappa and Frank-Z. So in the bottom lane, again, the push comes in for Super Team Kappa, and there's very little to stop them.
I'm just getting visions of Frank-Z being lifted while a chorus sings the circle of Twitch chat. Somebody please make that.
I'm sure we will. But either way, Mozilla has been forced to use his Dragon Descent defensively. Hook does not quite land onto the backside of Exler. It is a very large backside, and Moab will be picking up the white.
I forgot he was playing Gragas for a second, and I thought you were just being rather bad-mannered about the players. I was like, wow, I didn't realise you going that ham here, Pulse. But no, Gragas is rather large, and a bit of a departure from standard Gragas builds, actually. Rather than the Athene's Unholy Grail, they've actually opted for the Morellonomicon as an item here, which, of course, will give him the extra cooldown reduction that you'd expect coming out from the Athene's Unholy Grail. I don't know whether they actually need the Grievous Wounds passive that comes from the Morellonomicon, and unless there's something that I'm missing here, it just feels like he would have been better off with an Athene's Unholy Grail, and he does pick himself up a kill. Sorry, they're not letting you in on that one, but I just wanted to finish that point.
Yeah, no problem. I think Exler tried to start dancing there, but decided better off as Elise turned the corner. But that was some very smooth mechanics. Actually got the auto attack, flashed over the wall immediately, so Moaf's skill shot missed, and then just walked on out. So it was very smooth, and apparently the item choice didn't even matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a standard. It's a solid item for mid lane. It gives him all the stats he needs. I just
definitely different.
Don't know whether it's a different type of build than the Athene's Unholy Grail.
Yeah. We can definitely go with that and be right every time by saying it's different.
Well, it is different. I mean, I'm not going to call him out for building it. Again, we mentioned this earlier. Different players have different play styles, so it's just one of those things. Mozilla's play style is to Dragon's Descent over the wall to make sure he doesn't get caught. I think that was the right option.
Yeah, Mozilla is very aggressive, but it often means 2 people have to go after him. And then flash Tibbers onto Tarados and Nickard. The intervention can only save 1. The jump comes through. Oh, the Gragas barrel. Double kill comes out. Knocks the Tarados away from his team. But 2-0 might mean this inhibitor turret falling.
And this is a little bit more of a goal disparity and game flow change to game number one. In game number one, we saw a very close game. However, Eternity just haven't really been able to get out of the starting blocks on this one. They've picked up a couple of kills where they've been able to. They pick up another one, and Torridus goes in.
There's one. Get excited. Mozilla goes back in. Moaf just chunks him down alongside Torridus, but that will mean the rest of the team will get out relatively safely. Oh, no, Torridus does decide better of chasing.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think Superteam have to be a little bit careful that they don't overextend because of the resets on Kha'Zix and also the get excited passive from Jinx. So they do have to be careful they don't overstay. They weren't able to get that inhibitor, and another kill there for Torridus.
And the return kill for Chewed Up. He's trying to go a little further with this one. Stratagas has turned up, meaning that Chewed Up really doesn't want to donate the red buff towards him.
Superteam keep picking these fights. They're getting some from it, but they're also giving Eternity a couple of kills here and there, which is going to result in Eternity getting more gold, but I don't think Eternity's team composition is going to lend itself towards being able to hold any kind of siege here. They really rely on getting those resets in the team fights, and with Mozilla returning to that top lane, I don't think that Kale is going to be able to do too much more to this tower.
Yeah, Mozilla just tanking the auto attacks like a man, and Moaf is currently them. And remember that Mozilla has only got one tank item. He would usually have two at this stage. Now he aggresses onto Mikey R. He doesn't have any defense against magic damage, and Moaf is tearing through him, and Mikey R will pick up that kill.
Again, Eternity are picking up kills, and that's not good if you're Superteam EU. Yes, Superteam have champions such as Shyvana, which will do very well into the late game, but if they give the gold over to Eternity, they have to be careful in these fights that they don't get the items to really maximize the resets.
Yeah, and yes, Mozilla is saying Kappa every time he dies, but it doesn't mean that that's a worth play. So right now in the bottom lane, Stratagas Ginsu comes out, ace in the hole, Crux will easily be enough damage to instantly take him down.
Oh, Explosive Cask in the top lane nearly saves Gragas, but I think Exile is in a little too over his head, as Maweth will pick that one up to go on a killing spree.
Yep, so picks all over the map, 1-for-1, and Nikos does not quite land the flay. Turtles jumps onto Ginsu, does not get the reset. That means Chewed Up will take one, looking for the next one. He's only dragging him towards him. There's the second. Moaf jumps forward. He can 1 versus 2, but not if he's kited around. Yarrow comes in from the side, auto attacks, and also Mikey R. There's the Tibbers. Will get the stun down. Moaf drops to Chewed Up, and he's also got the slow from Red Buff. Flash comes out. Stratagas has returned. Tibbers will be taking that turret, but that is surely going to be the inhibitor.
And it looked like Eternity just didn't estimate the damage that came out from Chewed Up. Before that, he was 4-0-4. I believe he had the Bloodthirster static shield, as he does now, and a nice pickup from Strategist. But Chewed Up has a surprising amount of damage. He was getting good procs off on the headshot when it was available, and just landed so much damage there onto Eternity that they ended up picking up the inhibitor even when they were against the numbers.
Yeah, so Pause comes in, Chewed Up saying Jinx aimbot, and very possible. I mean, there's some pretty clutch super mega death rockets this game.
I think, though, the couple that they have fired long range has more been that the prediction has been so good out of Strategist that he's predicted where it was going to hit rather than, they were recalling. The two that have hit, Exile moved into earlier, and that time, I believe it was Ginsu moved into that one. So be a pretty specific aimbot that I don't think exists, to be honest. So
yeah.
We'll pin this one down to Strategist's skill.
Honestly, a lot of these ultimates that are hitting feel like if they weren't announced on TeamSpeak or whatever comms they're using wouldn't hit, but because they're saying, oh, Jinx ultimate, they're like, oh, panic, turn around, and then get hit by the Stratagas ult.
Yeah, that does sound like something that may be the problem, and Yarrow throwing out the excuse that they've always used, the same in Dignitas UK, just to get in the heads a little bit of your opponents. By every time they pause mid-game, someone always says, the cat jumped out the window. So...
I believe the cat has died on several occasions as well.
Yeah, it has.
From games
they really
I've watched.
need to start looking after their cats a little bit better. I'm gonna say it there. Yarrow, look after your pets.
Unbelievable. But Here at Ready Up TV, we do not approve at all of abuse to animals. But Chewed Up moving forwards along with Yarrow will... Who picked up blue? It was indeed Chewed Up.
Yeah, they managed to steal that one away. They probably would have liked to have given that over to Exile. Let's see whether he's got one on him. He doesn't actually have one currently, so I think that was just a little bit of miscommunication perhaps, but nevertheless, stealing away the blue buff, as long as you get it on your side, that's really the main aim of that play.
Yeah, indeed. As long as it is just denying it from the team of Eternity. So a 10k advantage at this stage in the game. Looks like it might turn into a third game here stretch, which would be very exciting.
Yeah, of course, that would make things our first third game of the day. That was a little confusing for the brain, first third. But
it is at this stage of the day.
We do have another best of three coming as well, as we'll see Ocelot's team in action. That will follow this best of three. But this is game number 2 here between Eternity and Superteam EU Kappa in the Scan Invitational round of 8, powered by Netgear, Sound Blaster, and Be Quiet. Now Exile looking maybe for the engage here, but his team aren't really grouped up for a fight yet, so really just throwing those barrels out to deny. Ginsu gets locked in place.
And instantly nuked down. Perfect Cocoon once again. Gragasbow comes out, does not quite predict the right place. It doesn't even matter because Chewed Up is legendary. Torodos does pick up the shutdown, and Super Mega Death Rocket this time lands, but does not pick up a kill. Stratogas not quite able to pick up Yarrow, and there's a dragon from the side. Box comes out from Nikos to kind of keep him away from Stratogas for as long as possible. Gragasbow over the wall picks up another. Nikos is the only one left standing who is willing to fight, backing on off with the flash. Mozilla is looking for the next one, and Torodos has recalled only to save his base.
And that really just now gives Superteam EU as much free reign as they want. Eternity stalled that fight out a little too long and ended up losing a Nexus turret for it. And that means Superteam EU can rotate around to the top lane, take down another turret, and then prepare for Baron. Because as soon as you have this much pushing in and that much damage to the base of Eternity, Superteam can really just pick their fights and pick their Baron.
Yeah, and there's very little they can do about Stratogas. We'll see if they can use this window of opportunity to not get caught, and also potentially take down the Baron as well. But there is superb warding coverage, so they might just try and disengage, get their items, recall, get their health, or just instantly take down one of these junglers. Chewed Up over the wall, lands the Piltover.
And they can see the strategist is in that bottom lane, so I'm surprised that the recall is coming out here, although Yarrow is fairly low. I guess they don't really want to fight against the reset composition with Kha'Zix just in case they take a poor fight, but really Superteam EU, knowing Jinx is down in the bottom lane, have free reign of the map once again.
Yeah, they really can't afford for anyone to become an instant reset for Kha'Zix, because as soon as one person goes down, it just becomes the reset train for Torodos, and that's the opposite of what they want. So they need those squishies to be at least as high as they can be before entering a team fight.
And I'm wondering what Eternity can do here. They really are just banking on the resets in the team fights, but that's one of those things that is such a 50-50 that you have to make sure you get that kill. And sometimes you can burst too much to even chase that first reset that it can end up that the rest of your team are down while Kha'Zix is resetting, although is trying to fight 1v4. So it's all on how Eternity can counter-engage these team fights or even pick somebody off early on.
Yeah, indeed. And Shyvana, unlike most Shyvanas, has picked the earlier Blade of the Ruined King, so they've got a lot of damage even on the Bruiser, who will be diving onto the back line. So already we do see the team of Superteam Kappa moving into the top lane, seeing if they can get themselves another inhibitor turret. That would be their ideal prize, but not getting caught would also be good. All the skill shots will miss Mozilla.
Yeah, the inhibitor has respawned in the bottom lane, so that means that no more super minions will be pushing through. The last one was killed as well, so that wave will return to some sense of normalcy, and means that really this top lane isn't as open as Superteam EU Kappa would really like. So they're going to fall back, I believe, get some more ward coverage of the jungle, deny any coverage, but Eternity have nice blind stun their lands, but not really enough to follow up the engagement because they don't know how many members of Superteam EU are there.
They know it's hitting someone, but they don't know how many it's actually taking down. So, you know, we'll just see the rotations come in from Superteam Kappa. They're finding it very difficult to take down one of these inhibitor turrets unless they get themselves a pick. I'm a little surprised they haven't just mobilized towards the bottom lane. They're very focused on trying to get themselves a kill.
Yeah, I was just thinking that myself. They haven't really started to rotate down there. They do want to make sure all lanes are pushing, and now bottom lane is the only lane that isn't pushing towards them as ping goes out. One of those damage warnings, but I believe it was only Mikey just taking a tiny amount. And now Superteam will rotate down. Dragon is up in 40 seconds, and on the current patch, of course, Dragon is a little bit more worth taking at this point in the game. It used to be that the gold was fairly linear, but at this point in the game, worth a little bit more so that they can keep Dragon relevant as an objective.
Yeah, it means that teams won't just simply ignore it when it starts spawning, and it means that the winning team will just take it anyway, and there'll be no point going over it, but trying to contest it, but they will be taking it. So, right now, in the bottom lane, they will be clearing up this ward, so making sure they cannot get any of that extra vision that they want from there. Ace in the hole comes through, lands onto Mikey R, combos with the explosive cask, and now they go for the fight as well as they can. The jump in and the intervention from Tarados doesn't instantly take down Chewed Up, and the ultimate used quite preemptively from Jinx as well. First kill onto Tarados, inhibitor will surely fall off the back of that, and now they also have a minion wave. We'll see how far they can roll with this stress as the Tibus comes in. First kill, second kill comes out, looking to get themselves another. Mozilla is so incredibly tanky. This might be the game here and now.
Yeah, that's surely the game here for Superteam, and that's what we were talking about, was Kha'Zix got locked in place, and they'd already used intervention to stop him taking any damage as he went into the fight. It looks like they're just going to pick up kills at the back of this one, and it will go in favor of Superteam EU Kappa. Really good game out of them to bounce back and tie this series up 1 game apiece.
Yeah, so again, it's at the stage where we have to question the KO pick, because I honestly feel if Eternity had a more conventional pick at the top lane, and maybe more boring pickup, one might say, it might have just won them the game.
Yeah, and that's the difference. Is I wouldn't go so far as to say, and I know you're not implying that